Hello, this is Winston Cunningham. It is um, June the 9th, 2025. And what I'm thinking about at the moment is, are we distracted or growing? When I first started, or after I'd been doing concentration for exercises for a good while and learning to be a teacher, I came to understand that when I could see new students, as I once was, um, when I could see new students going through the concentration exercises, and at first the results seemed promising, but then there comes a time when the student realizes that their concentration was improving falsely because they at the beginning they really didn't know what distracted them. So I pay a lot of attention to people being distracted, and I've noticed that people choose distractions because they're more or less addicted to the distraction. And that, as opposed to growth, which is understanding more about yourself through your experiences. And I think most people are just distracted. My attention is mostly on daily basis. I'm most interested in what I can learn from my experiences. I've risen above the need to be distracted. And that's a big thing, the need to be distracted. I was helping the lady. She's without a car, and I took her someplace to where she could do her laundry. And it was fascinating just to watch her work. And she said if I hadn't been there, she would normally be doing her laundry with the headphones on. And I said, why? She said, with the music. So she's distracted. She's very good at what she was doing, very organized and methodic. And she knew exactly what she wanted to do. But I think she's missing the point a lot, and she has some difficulty in areas that I could probably help her with. But it depends on if she wants it. Because I see people at the YMCA all the time, and they bring their distractions with them. They've got headphones on. And there's probably a number of reasons for that. And they think, well, that's their way of relaxing because they don't know the real way. I know how to relax. And I practice it continually. And when I'm in a situation to where there's noise for no reason that I'm relating to anyway, it just, so many people are distracted to the noises, and music is many times just noise because it's serving no useful purpose. It's keeping them that's listening to it, is keeping them distracted. And I'm a musician. I write songs. Or I haven't written one in a while, but I mean, I understand the process. And when I go to shopping, like at Kroger, and they've got the intercom going and got music playing. It's easy for me to get caught up in listening to the music and forget why I came there. I mean, I forget where to go next. And sometimes somebody will come up to me and say, "Can I help you?" I said, "No, I'm just trying to figure out where to go next," because of the distractions. And while I'm talking about songwriting, I'll mention this because I was in Jack Keller's class for a couple of years and learning the finer points of songwriting, because he had been doing it, making a living at it all of his adult life, and he was a good teacher. I enjoyed his class. But I can remember hearing one songwriter talk, and I had friends that were songwriters, and I didn't really get into it as a lifestyle as much as other people did. And I can remember one guy saying, that was a songwriter, he said, "You've got to be, your job is 24/7, because you never know where the next idea is coming from. So you've got to pay attention to everything." And it's that paying attention to everything that plugs you into any possibility of development. So I've known some really good songwriters. And like I say, I enjoyed that class with Jack Keller, who started out in New York, went to LA, and wound up in Nashville. And he said they called this the Third Coast. But he was a good guy. I liked him. But during the time of his class, I had already gone through the part of the School of Metaphysics that I was going to, and learning how to practice what I did learn, so I can keep that up. But I can remember, now the procedure of his class was that there would be from 8 to 12 people sitting around his pool table. Of course, it was covered. And he would have a cassette tape playing there. And somebody would bring a tape of the song they were working on. And he insisted on everyone at the table have the lyrics that they were looking at. If I were playing my song, everybody needed to see the lyrics. It's just part of the class. And so anyone could make suggestions, and that was good. It was a part of the learning there. And I appreciate Jack Keller for that. But I treated the songwriting during that period of time as a concentration exercise, because I'd done many, many concentration exercises at the School of Metaphysics and saw the productivity in that. So I just used it for songwriting. And so it was a real benefit. Okay. So whether a person remains distracted and pretty much is oblivious to why they're here, which is to learn about yourself through your experiences. And so the distraction, people are caught up into, well, my job is to have fun. My job is to make money. My job is to spend money. And so in the midst of all of this, there's some productivity happening. But the productivity is a temporary basis, to buy the home, to buy the next car, to make sure everybody in the family is having fun. But at the same time, all of these members of the family are missing the most important point of learning about yourself through your experiences. So, and I've witnessed when I get into family situations or any situation to where people are just totally distracted, and there's no room for anything else, then I probably won't stay very long, because I enjoy the peacefulness. I enjoy the staying on track toward my goals, which is to understand all I can about myself through my experiences. And I've got some goals, and I'm working with parts of goals, and I've talked about that in other of these talks on We Are Valuable Media. Like completion is a thing that I'm focusing on, is because I've done a lot of neat things, but completion is one that I need to focus on more. Because there are steps to each thing that we accomplish, and I don't want to accomplish things just for the sake of accomplishment. I want to accomplish things that will add to my understanding of myself as an individual, and we're all individuals, and I'm making progress with that. And so I'm going through an experience at the moment, that's part of the reason I've got this on, is that I had kind of a cold or something. I hadn't really figured it out yet. So I've spent a lot of time in bed the last couple of days, which I understand that rest is the single most important thing when healing needs to take place, is because the body is designed to heal itself, and when there's a need, like there is with me now, some congestion and some maybe been coughing a lot and bronchial disturbance there. So this is unusual for me. Normally I don't let it get this far out of whack. But obviously there is a need, and I'm just understanding that this morning or this afternoon. When there's something I really need to understand, I've been missing some things, then I'll have a situation like this where I have to put more attention on it. That's what pain is for, and this discomfort of coughing and so forth, the need for more rest. These are just calls for attention. This is all. And so what I'm focusing on now is wanting to dig a little bit deeper and figure out what this is about so I can correct it and be on my way. Now, if I take too long, or if I'm not interested in it, or if I'm distracted, it may take a while. So this is a challenge before me today, and as I'm doing this weekly talk, and there's some other steps to putting this talk up on We Are Valuable Media and then YouTube. That's a recent development that I like. So I've got work to do, and the temporary feeling, I just want to go to bed. I just want to rest, sleep it away or something. Now, sleep is that time where we allow for the process of assimilation. That's what sleep represents. So doing this talk is a part of me putting some things together that I need to see that maybe I haven't seen before, or if I have seen, this is the time to use it. Because any kind of illness is not accidental. It happens because something is out of place here. This is all. So I got to figure out what's out of place, put it back into place so I can go on about my way. So at any given time, I encourage you to ask yourself, and I encourage myself too, is to determine, am I distracted or am I growing? Not much growth happens in the midst of distractions. And all the games you play, all the TV you watch, there can be some benefit in that, but it's largely distraction. It keeps you from paying attention to your thoughts, and it is in paying attention to your thoughts that you begin to understand and to be able to make adjustments in where you are. But a lot of people are just, no, I don't want to be bothered by that. I love this distraction. Now, they don't identify it as distraction. Now, the lady yesterday, while she was doing her clothes, she said if I wasn't there, she'd probably have her earphones on, and she would be, what's the word she used? She was just lost in her, she didn't use the word distraction, but she was lost in, she was zoned out, or zoned in, or however you want. That's the way she put it, I think. And I don't know her that well, but just observing a few things, I think she probably experiences a lot more difficulty than she needs because she may not understand why she's here. And she may be trying to fix a mental problem with physical means. Those two are different. The physical part, what happens in your physical body or my physical body, is a result of what has already happened in the mind. See, the brain tells the body what to do, but the brain gets its direction for what to tell the body what to do, gets its direction from watching your manner of thinking. So it all comes back to you. You can't hide. But you can attempt to hide. That's what the distractions are for, I think. It's the attempt to hide. Like an ostrich putting his head in the sand. If I can't see it, it ain't there. But it is there. So I've focused a lot of every day making sure that I'm getting what I need from my experience. And if there's, I don't want to be missing something that's important. And obviously lately, I've missed something that I haven't put my finger on yet, but I will. It's just, and I was caught up in distraction, not necessarily my own, but I was helping a lady that's here at the campground is without an automobile and without a job, and she's working real hard, and she's keeping a good attitude toward it, and I've been impressed with that. So I've been observing her. So I have been a little bit distracted in the process of helping somebody else. And I need to be helping other people, and I enjoy doing that. But in doing so, I may let something that's important to me put on the back burner, and I need to be cautious about that. And maybe this is part of because what's happening here, congestion, upper respiratory difficulty, has to do with breath. So breath comes in through the medulla oblongata of the mouth of God, enters into and the universal breath that we're using. This is the energy that we're using or misusing. And that's why I broke it down like this, distraction or growing, because those are two completely separate uses of energy. And the energy that we're taking in through the mouth of God, the medulla oblongata, we're responsible for using that productively. Using it productively. So I got a little bit of work to do in figuring out how I may have been a little unproductive. And don't get away with this stuff because it's showing up in the physical body. I created this, there's no doubt in my mind. So the thing is, if you understand how you created this, which don't feel so good, you can also create something else that's more productive. I hope I've just, and I could probably say a lot more connected with this, but I think I've at least opened the door for you and me to think more about my growth as opposed to being distracted. And part of that is figuring out how the distractions take away from my growth. And how my growth rises above the distractions. Because in the previous talk, I think, I pointed out that as a person rises above the need to be entertained, here's the wording, as I relinquish the need to be entertained, then the universe supplies all the entertainment I can imagine. And it's more fulfilling. I'm Winston Cunningham.